What's up, YouTube? Mad Fragger back again. The video I have for you today is I'm taking a look at 5 fragrances in my collection that I feel are fragrances that have either been, put down on because they lack performance, or the general consensus on them is they're great smelling fragrances, but they just don't perform that well. And there's fragrance houses that kind of tend to carry that reputation, but in my opinion, okay, you're not going to be going out. Most people, I feel, in my opinion, that typically a person that's going to wear a fragrance is going to be doing whatever activity they're going to be doing. Are they going to the beach and hanging out with their friends? Are they going to the grocery store to go shopping? Are they going out to dinner with their girlfriend? Whatever the scenario is, I feel like 5 hours is plenty of time to ask a fragrance to perform in general, especially if it's the kind of fragrance that you want to be more of an intimate fragrance, like not a attention grabbing compliment puller, not something where you're going to step into a club and you want to command attention, and you want to you want to be unique and try to smell different from the next guy. I mean, all that is great, but sometimes you just want a scent that smells really good, is going to give you at least a 5 hour longevity, at least enough projection that if somebody's in your intimate space, that they're going to smell you and they're going to think you smell good. Like that's kind of what I'm getting out of these 5 right here. And I'm just going to go through these pretty quick. Not going to try to do like an individual review on each fragrance here. It'd be too long. These are ones that I feel that the scent far outweighs the performance. So starting out with Mont Blanc Starwalker. This is one that I've heard several places and seen several reviews written about it that love the scent, doesn't perform well. Smells great, only lasts 5 hours. I gotta see that everywhere with Starwalker. Now I gotta say that I gotta be honest with you. On my skin, I do get a little better with the Starwalker. Like I've gotten 6 or 7 with this. It's one of those scents that generally is going to stick close to the skin anyway. It's not a big projector, as that's kind of the theme here with these 5. It's not a big projector. It's more intimate. It's more close to the skin. But out of the 5, I would say this one probably, in my opinion, this one probably has the best as far as projection goes. This is probably the better one out of the 5, but still, it's known to be a poor performer. But that doesn't mean it's not worth the money. That doesn't mean it's not worth spending the money that this costs to buy this fragrance, wear it. So if it's a situation where where 5 hours is enough, then this is definitely one to wear. I mean, yeah, so okay, you get 5 hours out of it, but I mean, if you're not out trying to pull compliments and get attention, then that 5 hours is going to serve you pretty good. So let's just look at the notes, just a real quick rundown on the notes. Bamboo, bergamot, mandarin orange in the top. You really get the bamboo. It's kind of an original, in my opinion. He's kind of sets it apart a little bit. Like you can kind of pick that out. It's not a typical, one of those typical notes that are in a fragrance. Bamboo does come through. Sandalwood, white musk, and cedar in the mid, and ginger, fir resin, nutmeg, and amber in the base. Definitely has a nice warm kind of ambery base to it. But this is a great fragrance. It smells terrific. It smells beautiful. It's definitely worth the money, the price point. It's definitely worth the fact that it only performs for 5 hours. It's worth it. Put this thing on if I'm going to go, if I'm going to go grocery shopping and I put this on, go to the store, do my grocery shopping, come home, it's still going to be smelling great. And, again, it's not a huge projector anyway, but it's still going to be, where you can smell it pretty good. And You know what I mean? That's a situation where that's perfect, and it smells great. I mean, Mont Blanc Star Walker smells amazing. So let's move on. Next one I got is Dolce and Gabbana Light Blue, the Summer Vibes flanker. This is the newer flanker that Dolce and Gabbana come out with, the summer scent for. I believe it come out in 20. I think it was last year. I think it was 2022, but it could have been this year. I admit I don't know. And the cap that's on this isn't the original cap. The original cap is like white, and I think it does have some chrome accent, but it's like a white kind of dome shape, almost like a ball shape. But this is a cap off a bottle of Dossier because I acquired this bottle of Dolce and Gabbana Summer Vibes from a guy who lost the cap in a move. So no cap, but I just used the Dossier cap. But anyway, the light blue Summer Vibes is an absolutely fantastic warm weather summer fresh scent. It smells great. Um, but again, I mean, it's not on the low rung of the ladder for performance, but it's not a great performer either. And if I can just say, I realize that a lot of the ones that are in this list, four of the five in this list, are freshies or fresh fragrances. They're you know what I mean, considered a freshie. And so we all know that, you know, the longevity of a fragrance is a little less when it comes to a fresh fragrance, typically in general, for the most part anyway. So yes, four of these five are freshies. Dolce and Gabbana Summer Vibes, the notes are Sicilian lemon, cypress, and then amberwood. That's what you got here. It's not a complex fragrance, but it does smell well blended, it does smell well put together, and it does give you that warm weather, fresh summer vibe, hint hint, nudge nudge, Bob's your uncle, that you're looking for with this type of a scent. It's not going to project really hard. It's not going to, you know, it's not going to sit so close to the skin that you have to bury your nose in it to smell it either. But it's just one of those that it doesn't perform for a really long time and it doesn't project really heavy. But for what you get out of it, it is definitely worth the money and worth purchasing because it does what it's supposed to do and it does it really good. It smells fantastic. So that's Light Blue Summer Vibes by Dolce & Gabbana. Next one we got is John Varvatos, the original John Varvatos. Now the reason this is not I guess you wouldn't consider a freshie, quote unquote, but this is in this list, and I could put a lot of John Varvatos fragrances in this list. Not Artisan Pure, and I wouldn't put Dark Rebel in the list either, but a lot of the John Varvatos fragrances are those type of fragrances I'm talking about, where, yeah, they're not going to project real hard, they're not going to last all day, but, you know, it doesn't always have to, is the point. It doesn't always have to. It lasts long enough. It smells absolutely delicious. Leather, amber, tamarind, dates, which you definitely get. I definitely get the date, kind of fig date profile out of this. Balsam fir, vanilla, olibanum, herbal notes, caramel, hay, agarwood, styrex. Not really, maybe it's just my nose, but I don't really pick up on oud in this. Not a real experienced nose or anything or nothing like that anyway. So, but I mean, no, I don't really pick up on a lot of oud, but the fragrance is amazing. It's definitely got a very pleasing, very likable, very nice, kind of like got a sexy edge even to it. Intimate, close in your space, kind of, you know, date night kind of thing. Like if you're going to be with somebody that you're going to be close to, this is a good one to wear because it smells really, really good, but it's just not going to be, you know, turning people's heads. So, John Varvatos by John Varvatos. Great fragrance. I'm saying poor performance, and when I say poor performance, all I mean is relatively speaking. I mean, if you're comparing it to something like Nishan Ani, okay, I guess you could say it has poor performance. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a poor fragrance. Poor performance doesn't mean poor fragrance. It just means that that particular part of it, like when I go to the golf course, I may hit my irons really good one day and everything else for shit, but that doesn't mean that, I can't hit my driver well. It just means that day I'm not hitting the driver well. You don't always have to, everything doesn't always have to be check the boxes for something to be worth it. This is worth the money. This fragrance is definitely worth the money you're going to pay for it. Definitely. So the next one I got on the list is Tommy, the original Tommy. I think it was 1992 or something, maybe 96. But the original Tommy Hilfiger, and Tommy Hilfiger is one of those throwback kind of like old school fragrances, and it is notoriously a poor performer. Like, it's another one where I see reviews where people are saying, great scent, love the smell, doesn't last. That's true. It doesn't last 8-10 hours. It doesn't last all day. But the time that it does last, it smells great. It's got a now, and again, this is a just want to bring up that this, and also the light blue, the Dolce & Gabbana, these are both Alberto Morelos fragrances. So, if that means anything to you, and it should. The Tommy Hilfiger, though, it's got mint, bergamot, grapefruit, and lavender in the top, Granny Smith apple, cranberry, and rose in the mid, and cotton flower, cactus, and amber in the base. And the cactus is a unique note in this that does come out. You can, kind of pick up that agave kind of feel. Like, you know what I mean? You can tell that it's got a unique quality to it with the cactus, is what I'm saying. And but it kind of comes off as, it comes off a little dated, you could say. It's doesn't quite have the modernity of a lot of fragrances, like especially like Dior Sauvage or Creative Venice. It doesn't have the modernity as of a fragrance like that, but it's got that throwback quality, but it's still got a certain level of modern touch to it, enough. And I feel like if this fragrance lasted 10 hours, then it would be sold out on discounters. You'd be, putting in your email for when's it going to be in stock again. It smells terrific, and for warm weather, for summer weather, it's absolutely smells great. It's just, no, it doesn't perform that long, It is what it is. All right, last one in the list, Versace Blue Jeans. This is another fragrance that is a little bit dated, and it's got a dated kind of fougere, old school, like, it's a freshie. It is a freshie, but it's got that kind of like old school feel. It comes with I love the can. That's why I got the can right here. I love the can that it comes in. The artwork on it is really cool. The bottle design is really like distinct and original, and kind of, definitely different. But now the notes on this, there is too many notes in this fragrance. I'll just tell you that. There's so many notes in this thing. And for being a fragrance that's, I would consider to be rather linear and pretty, I wouldn't say one trick pony, but it kind of does a thing that it does, and it does that thing, and that's what it does. And for so many notes, citruses, bergamot, juniper, anise, basil, Brazilian rosewood in the top, lavender, rose, carnation, heliotrope, jasmine, sage, geranium, fir, lily of the valley. Now, I will say the carnation and the geranium, those kind of florals definitely give it that throwback kind of feel. Like a lot of those throwback fragrances utilized those florals pretty heavily, and that kind of is one of the things that gives it that throwback feel, and you do get that in the fragrance. Vanilla, tonka bean, iris, sandalwood, musk, amber, cedar, vetiver, patchouli in the base. I'm running out of breath. There's a lot of notes in this. Now that's Fragrantica, and I'm not gonna subscribe to Fragrantica being 100% accurate about all the notes on everything, but that's just what I use as a reference, unless I know ahead of time that the Fragrantica notes are not correct. Like there's been times where I think it was the Eternal Oud. I think the breakdown on Fragrantica was not the correct notes, not the notes that Lattafa would give you. But unless it's a case like that, I just give you the notes as they, list them on Fragrantica, just to give you an idea of what's in it and, how it may play out. Again, this one is a beautiful scent. It's a great, pleasing, very mass appeal kind of fragrance, but it does have that vintage feel to it, but not a lot of performance. I mean, it is what it is. It does what it does, but one thing it doesn't do is last all day long. So, if I'm going to go do something where I'm going to be out for about 4 or 5 hours and I want to smell really good and weather's warm, it's hot out, and I want to smell fresh, that's one that I can reach for. The Tommy, again, the Dolce & Gabbana, the Mont Blanc, even the Star Walker, those are ones that, now the John Varvatos, the only reason, like I said, the only reason that I didn't put that in that category is it's not necessarily the same kind of fragrance as these others. These are all good day fragrances, like during the day fragrances. They're not, none of these four here I would call fragrances that were best for evening wear. But the Varvatos, yeah, I'd say it's a little more suited to evening wear as well as the daytime. Again, wear a fragrance whenever you want, wherever you want, whatever the temperature is, doesn't matter. Especially if you're in a climate-controlled environment, it matters even less. But generally speaking, for the purposes of this publication, I'm going to say that these four are good warm weather daytime fragrances, all of them. And I want to kind of shine just a light out of these four on the Mont Blanc Star Walker and say this is probably one of my favorites out of all my fragrances. This is one that I really, really like, and I'd recommend anybody picking this one up. Hats off, Star Walker. Light blue, summer vibes. It does what it's supposed to do. And if you want to buy a fragrance that is going to do that thing that you want it to do, and that's what you want it to do, this is the fragrance. If you want something to wear to maybe go to a pool party, go to a barbecue, you're going to be out for 3-4 hours and it's hot. This is a great fragrance for that. The John Varvatos, hats off to you, John Varvatos. Wonderful, beautiful scent, just doesn't last that long. I mean, that's the theme here. Tommy, hats off to Tommy for being a vintage fragrance that still manages to hold on to some kind of modernity, and kind of transcends to a point. And hats off to Versace Blue Jeans. This is one of the, Versace doesn't make that many cheapies. And that's another thing, a point I want to make, is that every one in this list, aside from the light blue, I believe it's around the $80 range, but all the other ones in this list are relatively budget fragrances. None of these are going to set you back too much money. I think $20. I got this Tommy for $5 at Walmart. I don't know why or how, but they just happened to have it on sale the day that I was there. It was, for some reason, had a clearance tag on it for $5, and so I picked it up. But I had smelled Tommy in the past, and I had a bottle of it in the past and wore it before, and kind of already had a feel for what it was about. And again, it does a good job at what it does. All of these fragrances are great fragrances that are worth buying, that are worth having in your collection. if you use them appropriately to the situation. Don't expect them to do more than what they're gonna do. Don't expect more than 5, 6 hours. Don't expect more. Don't expect to walk, into a room and everybody's gonna turn their head to see who's wearing that fragrance. You can't expect that out of these. But what they do really well, all 5 of them, and I give a hats off to all these fragrances. That's going to do it for this video today. Thanks for joining me for another video. I hope that I'm able to get some more people watching. I'm trying to get this channel growing. I got some new stuff on the way coming in the mail here in about a week. I'm going to have a few different good reviews for you guys. Trying to focus on stuff that's not over reviewed. Like, I'm not going to give you a review of CDNIM. I love CDNIM. It's a great fragrance, but I'm not going to give you a review of that. You know why? Because there's 1,000 reviews of CDNIM out there, and everybody can watch any number of reviews on that. I'm trying to bring you reviews on stuff that, not necessarily that isn't reviewed at all, but that is not quite as, covered, so that I can kind of give you my take on it. And I'll still do some of the other fragrances in my collection that I have seen several reviews for, just for the fact that I like to give you guys what, my personal opinion and my personal take on presentation, on scent. So these 5, they're all worth spending your money on. Let me just say that. They're all worth spending your money on. They do a good job at what they do. And thanks for watching me, and I'll see you next time.